The forbidden exchange, the crystal moon's last hope. The emergency klaxons screamed through the cockpit as Marcus Chen fought to control his dying spacecraft. Sparks flew from damaged control panels while the crystal moon of Lireleth grew larger. In his viewport, his reconnaissance mission had gone catastrophically wrong when unknown energy weapons had torn through his ship's shields like paper. Now, with life support failing and engines dead, he had perhaps minutes before impact. Marcus gritted his teeth and angled the ship toward what looked like a clearing near a massive crystalline structure. The human special forces operative had survived 12 years of interstellar conflicts, but this might be where his luck finally ran out. The ship struck the moon's surface with bone-jarring force, carving a deep furrow through the silvery sand before coming to rest against the base of towering crystal spires. Smoke filled the cabin as Marcus checked his injuries. A deep gash across his forehead leaked blood down his face, and his left shoulder throbbed with pain, but he was alive. More importantly, his environmental suit was intact. The atmospheric readings showed the moon had a breathable atmosphere, though the air felt thin and carried a strange metallic taste as he stepped out of the wreckage. Marcus found himself in what could only be described as an alien cathedral. Massive crystal formations rose hundreds of feet into the starlit sky, their surfaces glowing with an inner light that pulsed like a slow heartbeat. The beauty of the place took his breath away, but something felt wrong. The crystal's light was dim, flickering, as if the entire moon was slowly dying. The discovery of Princess Zara following a path of polished stones between the crystal spires. Marcus heard something that made him freeze. It was a sound unlike anything in his experience, a musical tone that seemed to come from the very air itself, filled with such profound sadness that it made his chest ache. The sound led him deeper into the crystal forest until he found its source. In a circular clearing surrounded by the tallest crystals lay a figure that defied everything Marcus thought he knew about alien life. She appeared humanoid, but was clearly not human. Her skin had a translucent quality that seemed to contain flowing streams of light, and her hair moved like liquid silver even in the still air. She was beautiful in a way that belonged to dreams rather than reality, but she was dying. Princess Zara of the Etherian dynasty opened her eyes as Marcus approached. They were like looking into captured starlight, swirling with colors that had no names in human language. When she spoke, her voice carried that same musical quality he had heard from a distance, though now it was weak and fading. "A guardian from the outer realms," she whispered, each word taking tremendous effort. "I did not expect one of your kind to find me here." Marcus knelt beside her, his military training warring with something deeper, a compulsion to help that went beyond duty or protocol. "What happened to you?" "The void plague," Zara replied, her luminous skin flickering like a candle in the wind. "It spreads through our crystal matrix, turning our life energy into darkness. I am the last of my bloodline, and soon there will be nothing left of the Etherian people but empty temples and silent crystals." The human soldier studied her with eyes that had seen too much war and loss. Around them, he noticed that some of the great crystals had gone completely dark, their surfaces cracked and lifeless. "Is there no cure?" Zara's laugh was like distant wind chimes, beautiful but infinitely sad. "For countless cycles, our greatest minds have searched for an answer. The plague feeds on our energy matrix, growing stronger as we grow weaker. Nothing can stop it." The impossible decision. Marcus watched as the light in her skin continued to fade. His scanner showed readings he could barely comprehend, energy patterns unlike anything in human scientific literature. But beneath the alien readings, he saw something familiar. The same stubborn refusal to surrender that he recognized in himself and every human who had ever faced impossible odds. "What if the cure isn't something you need to find?" Marcus said slowly, an insane idea forming in his mind. "What if it's something you need to become?" Zara's starlight eyes focused on him with sudden intensity. "Your species processes energy differently than ours. I have studied the reports of human expansion into our sector. Where other races see obstacles, humans see puzzles to solve. Where others accept limitations, humans create new possibilities." Without waiting for her response, Marcus activated his suit's emergency medical protocols. The armor's advanced systems extended surgical tubes with precision that would have impressed the finest Earth hospitals. "Your plague feeds on energy, but what if we gave it something completely different to process?" "Human, no." Zara gasped, understanding his intention. "Our biological matrices are incompatible. The shock could kill us both." "Maybe," Marcus said, piercing his own wrist with steady hands. "But humans have a talent for surviving things that should be impossible." As his crimson blood began flowing through the tubes toward her crystalline circulatory system, Marcus felt a moment of doubt. He was violating every first contact protocol ever written, risking not just his own life, but potentially creating an interspecies incident that could spark another war. But looking at the dying princess, at the fading crystals around them, he knew he couldn't walk away. The transformation begins. The effect began the moment human blood entered Zara's system. Where Marcus had expected rejection or catastrophic failure, something unprecedented occurred. The Void Plague, designed to consume Etherian energy, encountered something it had never faced before. Human adaptability made biological Zara's skin began to glow brighter, but not with her species' typical silver-blue light. Instead, a warm, golden radiance emerged from within her, growing stronger by the second. The transformation went far deeper than mere healing. As their blood mingled, so did their consciousness. Marcus felt his awareness expand in ways that defied description. Through their shared connection, he experienced Zara's memories, the vast scope of Etherian civilization, their mastery of energy manipulation, their deep connection to the crystal matrices that powered their technology. He saw their empire, not as conquerors, but as guardians, protecting younger species from cosmic threats beyond imagination. Meanwhile, Zara felt the full force of human determination flow through her mind. She experienced Marcus's memories of Earth, of humanity's rapid rise from a single planet to a star-spanning civilization in mere centuries. She felt their wars, their losses, but most importantly, their absolute refusal to accept defeat no matter how overwhelming the odds. "Incredible," Zara whispered as the plague's dark energy was systematically destroyed by the hybrid vigor of their merged biologies. "The plague cannot process human determination. It is trying to consume something that grows stronger when challenged." Marcus stumbled as the transfusion completed, his advanced suit compensating for blood loss while monitoring the impossible changes occurring in both their bodies. He should have been dead or dying, but instead he felt more alive than he had in years. Through their connection, he understood that he now carried something of Etherian knowledge and energy manipulation abilities within his human frame. The bond deepens. Princess Zara stood for the first time in weeks, her movements fluid and strong. The golden light continued to emanate from her skin, and Marcus realized that she had not simply been cured, She had been transformed into something new, something that was both Etherean and human, yet more than either. Around them, the crystal spires began to resonate with new energy. The golden light spread from Zara to the nearest crystals, and they blazed with renewed brilliance. The void plague's dark corruption fled before this new hybrid energy like shadows before dawn. "What have we become?" Zara asked, staring at her hands as they pulsed with golden power. "What humans always become when faced with the impossible." Marcus replied, his own body now showing traces of crystalline patterns beneath his skin. "We adapt, we overcome, we find a way." Through their mental link, both warriors understood that they had created something unprecedented in galactic history. The bond between them went beyond mere blood transfusion. They had achieved a true biological and mental fusion that transcended species barriers. Zara looked at the human warrior who had saved not just her life, but her entire civilization by sharing the most fundamental part of his being. In his blood, she had found something her ancient race had forgotten in their millennia of existence: the raw, stubborn hope that refused to accept any problem as unsolvable. "The plague is dying throughout our territory," she said, her enhanced senses feeling the change spreading through the crystal network. "Our people will live, but Marcus... She paused, silver eyes meeting his human ones. "I sense something else through our connection, a greater darkness approaching from the void between stars." Marcus nodded grimly. Through their shared awareness, he too had glimpsed something massive and malevolent moving through space toward inhabited worlds. Their transformation had given them more than healing. It had given them the ability to perceive threats that neither species could face alone. "Then we'd better get ready," he said with characteristic human determination, "because whatever's coming, it's going to learn what happens when human stubbornness meets Etherean power." As they stood together among the blazing crystal spires, both carrying part of the other within their very DNA, they knew their story was just beginning. The galaxy was about to discover what was possible when two species chose unity over conflict, when sacrifice led to strength, and when a human's desperate gamble created something entirely new under the stars. The unity that changed everything, the awakening Power 3. Days had passed since the blood bond transformed both Marcus and Princess Sarah. The crystal moon of Lilith now blazed with golden light that could be seen from neighboring star systems. Every Etherean crystal formation in the galaxy resonated with new energy, bringing their people back from the brink of extinction. But the transformation had revealed something far more urgent than plague or healing. Marcus stood in the central temple chamber, his body now showing permanent crystalline veins that pulsed with inner light. His human strength had been enhanced beyond anything his species had ever achieved, while his mind could access Etherean energy manipulation techniques refined over millions of years. But it was the cosmic awareness that disturbed him most. Through their shared consciousness, he and Zara could perceive space on a galactic scale. They felt the movements of entire star systems, the birth and death of worlds, and something else, a presence of such vast malevolence that it made the void plague seem like a minor infection. "The Devourers," Zara whispered, her voice carrying harmonics that made the crystal walls sing in response. "They exist between dimensions, consuming entire realities. My people's ancient texts spoke of them as myth, but now I understand. The void plague was not a disease, it was a reconnaissance probe." Marcus absorbed this information through their mental link, his human mind processing tactical implications while drawing on Etherian historical knowledge. They were testing our defenses, learning how our biological systems work before the main invasion. And now they know that something new exists, Zara continued. Our transformation has created energy signatures they have never encountered. They are coming to investigate. The impossible alliance, the first indication of the approaching threat, came from Marcus's own people. His crashed ship's emergency beacon had finally been detected, and a human rescue fleet was approaching. But through their enhanced awareness, Marcus and Zara could sense something else traveling with the human ship's devourer, scouts, using the fleet's hyperspace wake to mask their approach. "We have to warn them," Marcus said, activating his ship's communication array. The response came within hours, not just from the human rescue fleet, but from Etherian vessels that had detected the golden light emanating from their sacred moon. Both fleets arrived simultaneously, weapons-powered and ready for conflict. Humanity and the Etherian Empire had been locked in Cold War for decades, each viewing the other as a potential threat. Now they faced each other in the space above Lilith, while an enemy neither could comprehend prepared to destroy them both. Admiral Sarah Chen, Marcus's sister and commander of the human task force, appeared on the communication screen first. Her expression shifted from relief to shock as she saw her brother's transformed appearance. "Marcus, what happened to you? Our sensors are picking up impossible energy readings from that moon." Before Marcus could respond, another figure materialized in the holographic display. High Admiral Kyrix of the Etherian fleet, his translucent features rigid with suspicion and concern. "Princess Zara lives," Kyrix said, his musical voice filled with barely contained emotion. "But the energy signature, you have been altered, contaminated by alien influence." "Not contaminated." Zara stepped into view, her golden radiance making both fleets' sensors spike wildly. "Evolved, and if both our species want to survive the next few hours, you need to listen very carefully." The revelation of the true enemy. What followed was the most unprecedented diplomatic exchange in galactic history. As Marcus and Zara shared their experience through the communication links, both fleets watched in stunned silence. The display screens showed not just their testimony, but actual energy scans of the approaching devourer, scouts entities that existed partially outside normal spacetime. "They consume dimensional barriers themselves," Zara explained, her enhanced perception tracking the invisible predators. "They do not conquer worlds, they delete them from reality entirely. Every living thing, every planet, every star simply ceases to exist." Admiral Chen's tactical mind processed the threat assessment. "How many are we looking at?" "The scouts are merely the beginning," Marcus replied, his human strategic training enhanced by Etherian cosmic awareness. "Behind them comes a force that has consumed entire galaxies." "But Sarah... He paused, meeting his sister's eyes through the display. "There's something else. The bond between Zara and me. It's not just personal. It's created a new form of energy that they cannot consume." Through the communication link, both fleets felt a ripple of that golden power. Human technology interfaced seamlessly with Etherian crystal matrices. Where there should have been system conflicts, there was perfect harmony. Where there should have been incompatible energy signatures, there was unified strength. High Admiral Kyrix studied the readings with growing amazement. "This is impossible. Our species have been incompatible for millennia. Our energy frequencies should cancel each other out." "They do," Zara explained. "But cancellation creates something new. When human adaptability meets Etherean stability, the result transcends both. The Devourers cannot process this hybrid energy because it exists outside their dimensional framework. The battle for reality. The first Devourer scout materialized without warning, phasing into normal space between the two fleets. It was massive beyond comprehension, a writhing mass of dark energy that hurt to look at directly where it passed. Space itself seemed to fray and weaken. The human fleet opened fire immediately, their kinetic weapons and energy beams striking the entity with devastating force. But the attacks passed harmlessly through the creature, as if they were firing at a shadow. The Etherean vessels responded with crystal-focused energy lances that could crack moons, but their attacks similarly failed to affect the interdimensional predator. The Devourer began feeding, and reality warped around it as nearby asteroids simply vanished from existence. All weapons ineffective, Admiral Chen reported grimly. It's not fully in our dimension. How do we fight something we can't touch? The answer came from the transformed duo on Lyrilleth's surface. Marcus and Zara joined hands, their hybrid energy flowing between them and amplifying exponentially. Golden light erupted from the crystal moon's surface, forming a beam that struck the Devourer directly. For the first time in eons, the cosmic predator felt pain. The hybrid human-Etherean energy forced it fully into normal space-time, making it vulnerable to conventional weapons. Both fleets immediately concentrated their fire, and the creature dissolved into screaming darkness. But it was only the beginning. The final gambiters, more Devourers, phased into the system. Marcus and Zara realized that their combined power, while effective, was limited. They could force the creatures into normal space, but maintaining that effect against multiple entities would exhaust them quickly. The main force was still coming, thousands of cosmic predators that could delete entire star systems. There's only one way, Zara said, her starlight eyes meeting Marcus's human gaze. We have to extend the bond. Through their mental link, both fleets understood what she meant. The transformation that had saved the Etherean people and created a weapon against the Devourers could be shared, but at enormous risk. Creating a network of hybrid bonded individuals across both species could generate enough power to repel the invasion. But the process might kill everyone involved. You're talking about fundamentally altering human and Etherean biology on a massive scale, Admiral Chen said, her voice tight with concern. We don't know what the long-term effects would be. The alternative is extinction, Marcus replied simply, not just for our species, but for this entire galaxy. Sarah, you know me. Have I ever asked you to trust me on something that wasn't worth the risk? The debate lasted precious seconds while more Devourers materialized around them. Finally, volunteers from both fleets agreed to undergo the bonding process. Human and Etherean medical teams worked together for the first time in history, creating hybrid pairs using Marcus and Zara's transformed blood as a catalyst. The network of unity. What happened next defied every scientific principle both species thought they understood. As each new bonded pair was created, their combined consciousness joined the growing network. Human determination merged with Etherean wisdom, creating a gestalt intelligence that spanned both fleets. The hybrid network generated a field of golden energy that encompassed the entire system. When the main Devourer force finally arrived, a swarm of cosmic predators that blotted out the stars, they found themselves facing something completely outside their experience. The unified consciousness of hundreds of bonded pairs created a dimensional anchor that forced every Devourer into normal space simultaneously. More importantly, The hybrid energy began repairing the damage they had caused to reality itself. Worlds that had been deleted from existence reformed. Stars that had been consumed blazed to life again. The devourers, faced with prey that not only resisted consumption but actively reversed their feeding, retreated back to the dimensional void from which they had emerged. The message was clear. This galaxy was no longer vulnerable to their ancient hunger. The new dawn in the aftermath of the battle, both species found themselves fundamentally changed. The hybrid bonds created between humans and Etherians could not be undone, nor did anyone want them to be. The network of consciousness that had formed during the crisis remained, creating an unprecedented level of cooperation and understanding. Marcus and Zara stood together on Lireleth's surface, watching as combined human-Etherian construction crews worked to build the first joint colony. The crystal spires now hummed with the integrated technologies of both civilizations, creating wonders that neither species could have achieved alone. "The galaxy will never be the same," Zara observed, her golden radiance casting rainbow patterns through the crystal formations. "That's the point," Marcus replied, his own hybrid nature allowing him to interface directly with the crystalline technology around them. Humans and Etherians separately were powerful. Together was something the universe has never seen before. Through their bond, both warriors could sense the broader changes rippling across known space. Other species were taking notice of what had happened above Lyra. Some approached with offers of alliance, while others prepared for war, fearing the implications of such a powerful hybrid civilization. But Marcus and Zara were not concerned. They had learned that when faced with impossible odds, the answer was not to retreat or surrender. The answer was to transcend limitations, to become more than the sum of their parts, and to face the unknown with unity rather than division. The human warrior who had crash-landed on a crystal moon had indeed given his blood to save a dying alien princess. But in return, she had given him something equally precious, the proof that the barriers between species existed only in the mind, and that true strength came not from conquest, but from the courage to share one's greatest gifts with former enemies. Their story spread across the galaxy, inspiring other species to look beyond their differences and seek the unity that could make them all stronger. The Devourers might return someday, or other cosmic threats might emerge from the darkness between stars. But when that happened, they would find not isolated, competing civilizations, but a galaxy unified by the simple human truth that some victories are worth more than conquest. The last guardian had given his gift, and the galaxy would never forget. **